The casket had barely been lowered into the ground when Victoria found me in the church parking lot. I was standing by Michael's car, a silver Honda Accord that still had his coffee cup in the holder and his work badge clipped to the visor. My son had been gone for 10 days now. A sudden heart attack at 42 years old, the doctors said. Perfectly healthy one moment, gone the next. No warning. No goodbye. Just a phone call at 3 a.m. that shattered my entire world. Harold, we need to talk. I turned to find my daughter-in-law standing behind me, her black dress perfectly pressed, her blonde hair pinned back in an elegant twist. She'd barely shed a tear during the service. I'd noticed that. I'd noticed a lot of things these past 10 days. Of course, Victoria. What is it? She glanced around the parking lot, where mourners were still filing toward their cars, dabbing their eyes and murmuring condolences to one another. Not here. Let's go home first. Home. The word felt hollow now. The house where I'd lived for the past 4 years. Ever since my knee replacement surgery made it impossible for me to manage my 2-story colonial alone. Michael had insisted I move in. Dad, you spent 35 years working yourself to the bone at the plant. Now let us take care of you. I'd sold my house and used the money to help them pay off their mortgage. $300,000. Everything I had from 40 years of marriage to my late wife Dorothy and 3 decades at the automotive manufacturing plant, where I'd worked my way up from the floor to shift supervisor. Michael had tried to refuse it, but I'd insisted. Consider it my contribution to the household, I'd told him. I won't be a burden. Victoria drove us back in silence. When we pulled into the driveway of the craftsman-style home that I'd helped paint, helped landscape, helped fill with warmth and memories, she finally spoke. Harold, I've been thinking about the future. About what happens now. I unbuckled my seatbelt slowly. What do you mean? I mean that circumstances have changed. Michael is gone, and I need to figure out how to move forward. She wouldn't look at me. Her eyes were fixed on the steering wheel. My brother Derek lost his job last month. He needs a place to stay while he gets back on his feet. And your room, the downstairs suite. It's the biggest guest space we have. A cold sensation crept up my spine. Victoria, what are you saying? I'm saying I need you to find somewhere else to live. She finally turned to face me, and there was no warmth in her eyes. No grief. Just calculation. I can give you 45 days. That should be enough time to find an apartment or a senior living facility. I stared at her. Behind us, the funeral procession was still arriving. Cars pulled up along the street, filled with Michael's friends and colleagues who'd come to pay their respects. And here was his wife, asking me to leave before his grave had even been filled. We buried my son this morning, I said quietly. I know, and I'm sorry for your loss. Your loss too. He was your husband for 15 years. Something flickered across her face. Annoyance? Impatience? Yes, and now I'm a widow at 40 years old. I have to think practically, Harold. Derek needs help. And honestly, having you here. She trailed off. Having me here what? It's just awkward. Michael was the one who wanted you to move in. Now that he's gone, I need to make decisions that work for me. I sat in silence for a long moment, watching a family of mourners walk past the car. The Hendersons, Michael's neighbors from childhood. Tom Henderson caught my eye through the window and gave me a sad, sympathetic nod. I see, I finally said. 45 days. I think that's fair. More than fair, actually. I opened the car door and stepped out into the November cold. The wind cut through my black overcoat, but I barely felt it. I was numb in a way that had nothing to do with the weather. The house filled with mourners for the reception. I moved through them like a ghost, accepting condolences, hearing stories about Michael that made me smile through my tears. He'd been such a good man. Kind, hardworking, devoted. Everything a father could want in a son. Victoria played the grieving widow perfectly. She dabbed her eyes at appropriate moments, accepted hugs gracefully, and spoke of Michael in glowing terms that rang hollow to my ears. She'd barely spoken to him the week before he died. I'd heard them arguing about something. Money, I thought, and Michael had slept on the couch 2 nights in a row. I hadn't asked about it. I'd learned long ago not to interfere in their marriage. By 8 p.m., the last of the mourners had left. Victoria retreated to the master bedroom without a word. I found myself standing in Michael's home office, looking at the photos on his desk. His wedding day, his college graduation, a snapshot of him and me at his medical school white coat ceremony. He'd become a physical therapist, dedicated to healing people in a way I'd never been able to. I'm so sorry, son, I whispered to his photo. I should have seen what she really was. I pulled out my phone and called my oldest friend. Frank. It's Harold. I'm sorry to call so late. I need help. Frank arrived at midnight with his pickup truck and 3 large moving boxes. "Are you sure about this?" he asked as I began packing my belongings. "Maybe she's just grieving. Maybe she'll change her mind." I shook my head. "You didn't see her face, Frank. There was no grief in it. Only opportunity." We worked quietly, filling boxes with my clothes, my photo albums, my father's pocket watch collection that Victoria had always complained about cluttering the shelves. Michael had given me the downstairs suite when I moved in, a bedroom, a small sitting room, and my own bathroom. He'd even built custom bookshelves for my woodworking magazines and old engineering manuals from the plant, though I'd been retired for years. I ran my hand along the shelves. Michael had spent an entire weekend building them, sanding each piece by hand until it was smooth as silk. "Only the best for my dad," he'd said. At 2 a.m., Victoria appeared in the doorway. "What are you doing?" "Leaving." I didn't stop packing. "I said you had 45 days, and I've decided not to take them." I finally looked at her. "I won't stay where I'm not wanted, Victoria. Not for another minute." She seemed genuinely confused. "But where will you go?" "That's not your concern anymore." Frank picked up the last box. "Come on, Harold. My guest room is ready." I took one final look around the suite. For years of memories. For years of family dinners and holiday celebrations and quiet evenings with my son. All of it gone now, erased by a single sentence from a woman I'd never really known at all. "Goodbye, Victoria." "Harold, wait." She reached for my arm, but I stepped past her. "At least give me your key." I paused at the front door. Slowly, I pulled the house key from my pocket and set it on the entry table. But as I did, I noticed something. A folder sitting in the mail basket, marked urgent, estate documents. Victoria noticed me looking. "Those are private." Of course. I walked out into the cold night air. But I didn't forget what I'd seen. The next morning, I woke in Frank's spare bedroom to 17 text messages and 4 voicemails from Victoria. "Harold, I think we should talk about this like adults. Asterisk, you can't just leave in the middle of the night. People will think I kicked you out. Asterisk. Asterisk, call me back. Please. Asterisk. Asterisk, my lawyer says we need to discuss the estate. There are some financial matters that require your signature. Asterisk." That last message made me pause. Financial matters? Michael hadn't mentioned anything about needing my signature for anything. Unless I thought about the $300,000 I'd given them for years ago. At the time, I'd simply written a check and handed it to Michael. He'd hugged me tight and promised to take care of the paperwork. "I'll make sure everything's documented properly, Dad. Don't worry about a thing." I trusted him completely. But now Michael was gone, and I had no idea what documentation actually existed. I called the one person I knew could help. "Robert Chen, please. Tell him it's Harold Wright." His firm handled my wife Dorothy's estate. Robert had been recommended by a colleague at the plant years ago. He'd handled everything when Dorothy passed from cancer, making sure I was protected and provided for. He was semi-retired now, but I knew he'd take my call. "Harold, I was so sorry to hear about Michael. How are you holding up?" "Not well, Robert. I need your help." I told him everything. The funeral day ultimatum. The $300,000. Victoria's sudden urgency about financial matters and signatures. "Harold, do you have any documentation of that payment? A promissory note? A co-ownership agreement? Anything?" My heart sank. "I don't know." Michael handled all of it. I trusted him. And you were right to trust him. Michael was a good man. Robert's voice was thoughtful. "But Victoria, Harold, I have to be honest with you. Something about this doesn't sit right with me. What do you suggest I do?" "First, we need to find out what documentation exists. Michael was meticulous. You raised him well. If he documented the arrangement, the papers are somewhere. Second, we need to understand what Victoria is planning. This urgency about your signature suggests she needs something from you, which means you have leverage. What kind of leverage? I don't know yet, but I intend to find out." I could hear papers shuffling. "Can you get back into the house? Access Michael's files." I thought about it. Victoria had asked for my key, but she hadn't asked for the garage door code. An oversight, probably, in her haste to push me out the door. I think so. Then do it. Today, if possible. Victoria will be busy with estate matters. That's usually what happens in the first few weeks after a death. Look for anything related to the house, the mortgage, the payment you made. Take photos of everything. "Robert, is this legal?" A pause. "You lived in that house for 4 years, Harold. You contributed $300,000 to its purchase. Until the estate is settled, you have every right to access documents related to your financial interest. But I'd recommend being discreet." Victoria's car was gone when I arrived at the house Monday morning. She had a standing appointment with her Pilates instructor every Monday at 10. Some things never changed, even for grief. The garage door opened with the code I'd used hundreds of times. I slipped inside, my heart pounding in a way that felt strange and unfamiliar. I'd never done anything remotely clandestine in my entire life. 70 years of following rules, doing the right thing, trusting that others would do the same. Look where that had gotten me. Michael's office was exactly as he'd left it. His laptop sat closed on the desk. His calendar still showed appointments for the week he died, patients he'd never see again, colleagues he'd never joke with in the break room. I touched the leather chair where he used to sit, remembering how he'd spin around in it when I brought him coffee, grinning like the little boy he'd once been. "Help me, son," I murmured. "Help me find what I need." I started with the filing cabinet. Michael had always been organized, just like me. Manila folders lined up in alphabetical order, each one neatly labeled. Bank statements, car insurance, household expenses, investments, medical records, mortgage. The mortgage folder made my hands tremble as I opened it. Inside were the original loan documents from when they'd bought the house 6 years ago, the purchase agreement, the title insurance policy, and there, paper clipped to the back, was a document I'd never seen before. Promissory note and ownership agreement. This agreement, entered into on March 15, 2019, acknowledges the contribution of Harold James Wright, contributor, in the amount of $300,000 toward the purchase and mortgage satisfaction of the property located at 847 Maple Lane, Burlington, Ontario. In consideration of this contribution, the parties agree that 1. Harold James Wright shall hold a 40% ownership stake in the property. 2. Harold James Wright shall have the right to reside in the property for his lifetime or until he voluntarily chooses to relocate. 3. In the event of sale, Harold James Wright shall receive 40% of the net proceeds. 4. This agreement shall survive the death of any party and transfer to their respective heirs. The document bore 3 signatures, mine, Michael's, and, to my astonishment, Victoria's. She'd signed it. She knew about this agreement. She'd known all along. I took photos of every page, my hands shaking so badly I had to take each shot twice. Then I kept looking. Another folder, this one labeled Legal Correspondence. Inside were letters from a law firm I didn't recognize, Blackwood and Associates. I scanned through them quickly, and what I found made my blood run cold. They were drafts of a lawsuit. Victoria had been planning to challenge our ownership agreement, claiming I'd exerted undue influence over Michael to secure a larger share than I deserved. The drafts were dated 6 months before Michael's death. She'd been planning this for half a year, while Michael was alive, while we were all living under the same roof, eating dinners together, celebrating Christmas together. And then I found the email printouts. Victoria to someone named Jason Reed, dated 3 months ago, * everything's in place. Once he signs the new documents, the old agreement becomes void. His father won't have any claim, *. Jason Reed to Victoria, * are you sure he'll sign? You said he was suspicious, *. Victoria to Jason, * he won't be a problem. Trust me, *. I sat frozen in Michael's chair, the printouts clutched in my trembling hands. My mind raced, trying to piece together what I was seeing. Victoria had been planning to invalidate our ownership agreement. She'd been corresponding with someone named Jason Reed about getting Michael to sign new documents. And she'd written that Michael won't be a problem. What did that mean? What had she done? I forced myself to keep looking. Michael's laptop was password protected, but I knew my son. I typed in my birthday, October 8th, and the screen unlocked. His email was still logged in. I felt like I was violating something sacred, reading my dead son's private messages, but I had no choice now. I needed to know the truth. I searched for Victoria's name. Dozens of emails appeared, most of them mundane, grocery lists, scheduling reminders, forwards from her mother about family events. But then I found a thread from 2 weeks before Michael died. Michael to Victoria **, we need to talk about the life insurance. I saw the documents you printed. Why are you trying to increase the policy to $2 million? We agreed $500,000 was enough? *. Victoria to Michael **, it's just a precaution. You never know what might happen, *. Michael to Victoria **, what's that supposed to mean? And who is Jason Reed? I found a letter from him in your desk, *. Victoria to Michael *, you went through my desk? Michael to Victoria **, don't deflect. Who is he? *. Victoria to Michael asterisk asterisk, he's a financial advisor. I was looking into our investments. That's all, asterisk. Michael to Victoria asterisk asterisk, I called the number on his letterhead. There is no Jason Reed at that firm. Victoria, what's going on? Asterisk. There were no more emails after that. But I remembered now. Those arguments I'd overheard in the week before Michael died. The tension that had filled the house. Michael sleeping on the couch. He'd discovered something. He'd confronted her. And then, I couldn't let myself finish the thought. Not yet. I needed more evidence. I searched for Jason Reed in Victoria's email. She'd been careless enough to leave herself logged in on the family computer. Dozens of emails appeared, spanning back almost 2 years. Jason Reed wasn't a financial advisor. The emails made that clear almost immediately. Victoria to Jason, 18 months ago, asterisk asterisk, I can't stop thinking about you. When can I see you again? Asterisk. Jason to Victoria asterisk asterisk tomorrow? He's at work until 6, asterisk. Victoria to Jason, 14 months ago, asterisk asterisk, I want out of this marriage. I want to be with you, asterisk. Jason to Victoria asterisk asterisk, then let's make it happen. What's stopping you? Asterisk. Victoria to Jason asterisk asterisk money. He controls everything. And his father, God, he's always here, always watching. I can't move without him noticing something. Asterisk. Jason to Victoria, 12 months ago, asterisk asterisk, what if he wasn't in the picture? You said he increased his life insurance. Asterisk. Victoria to Jason asterisk, don't even joke about that. Jason to Victoria asterisk, who's joking? I had to stop reading. I was shaking so violently that the laptop nearly slid off the desk. My son. My hard-working, kind, innocent son. He'd been married to this woman for 15 years, and all along. I forced myself to keep going. The later emails were more coded, more careful, as if they'd become aware they might be discovered. Victoria to Jason, 6 months ago, asterisk asterisk, the papers are ready. Once he signs, his father is out. Then we can move to phase 2, asterisk. Jason to Victoria asterisk, and you're sure about phase 2? Victoria to Jason asterisk, I've never been more sure of anything. Phase 2. What was phase 2? And then, dated 1 week before Michael's death. Victoria to Jason asterisk asterisk, he found your letter. He's asking questions. What do we do? Asterisk. Jason to Victoria asterisk asterisk, stay calm. We can accelerate the timeline. Is his heart medication still in the bathroom cabinet? Asterisk. I stopped breathing. Michael had taken medication for mild arrhythmia, a condition he developed a few years ago. Nothing serious, the doctors had said. Just a pill every morning to keep things regulated. Victoria to Jason, 1 day before Michael died, asterisk asterisk, it's done. I switched them like you said. He won't know the difference, asterisk. I don't remember taking photos. I don't remember driving back to Frank's house. I don't remember anything until I was sitting in Robert Chin's office, the printouts spread across his desk, tears I couldn't control streaming down my face. Harold, Robert's voice was very quiet. Are you saying what I think you're saying? She killed him. The words came out broken. She killed my son. Robert sat in stunned silence for a long moment, reading and rereading the email printouts. Harold, these are serious allegations. Murder. Conspiracy. Insurance fraud. He looked up at me, his lined face grave. If we take this to the police, there will be an investigation. An autopsy, probably. Your son's body. I know. I'd thought of nothing else during the drive over. But if she killed him, I can't let her get away with it. I can't let her profit from his death. No, you're right. Robert removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. I need to make some calls. I have a contact in the Crown Prosecutor's office. We go back decades. And we'll need to involve the police immediately. This isn't just a civil matter anymore. What about the house? The ownership agreement. That's still valid. Victoria's signature is on it, which means she acknowledged your stake. Whatever she was planning to do with these new documents Michael refused to sign, she never succeeded. Robert straightened the papers on his desk. But Harold, I have to be honest with you. If Victoria is arrested for murder, the estate becomes incredibly complicated. Everything will be frozen. It could take years to sort out. I don't care about the money. My voice broke. I just want justice for Michael. Robert reached across the desk and clasped my shoulder. You'll have it. I promise you that. The next 48 hours were a blur. Robert's contact in the Crown Prosecutor's office took one look at the evidence and immediately involved the Toronto Police Service. Detectives arrived at Frank's house that evening to interview me, taking careful notes as I walked them through everything I'd found. Mr. Wright, we'll need to examine your son's body, Detective James Okafor told me. He was a tall man in his 40s, with steady eyes and a calm demeanor that I found oddly comforting. If his heart medication was tampered with, as these emails suggest, a toxicology report should reveal it. Do whatever you need to do. I signed the consent forms without hesitation. They also obtained a warrant to search the house on Maple Lane. Victoria was brought in for questioning, and Jason Reed, a small-time con artist with a history of insurance fraud, it turned out, was arrested at his apartment in Hamilton. I wasn't there for any of it. I spent those 2 days at Frank's house, staring at old photos of Michael and trying to comprehend how I'd missed the danger he was in. How I'd lived under the same roof as his killer, eaten meals she'd prepared, thanked her for taking care of my son. On the third day, Detective Okafor called. "Mr. Wright, the toxicology results came back. Your son had lethal levels of digoxin in his system, a different heart medication than what he was prescribed. It caused the cardiac arrest." A pause. "I'm so sorry. You were right. I don't remember what I said to him. I think I thanked him. I think I wept." Frank was there, his hand on my shoulder, but I barely felt it. Victoria was arrested that afternoon. She was charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Jason Reed was charged as her accomplice. The news spread quickly. The story made headlines across Ontario. Burlington woman charged with murdering husband for insurance payout. Reporters camped outside Frank's house, trying to get statements from me. I refused to speak to any of them, but I did agree to testify. The trial took place 8 months later, in the depths of summer. The courtroom was packed with journalists, true crime enthusiasts, and, to my surprise, dozens of Michael's former patients who'd come to support his memory. I sat in the front row, behind the prosecutor's table, where I'd sat every day of the trial. Robert had been beside me for most of it, though today he was in the hallway, speaking with reporters on my behalf. Victoria looked smaller than I remembered, diminished. She'd lost weight during her time in custody, and her hair had grown out to reveal gray roots beneath the blonde. She wouldn't look at me. The prosecution had presented a devastating case. The emails, the switched medication, the life insurance policy Victoria had increased just months before Michael's death. Jason Reed had turned on her almost immediately, testifying in exchange for a reduced sentence that the whole thing had been Victoria's idea. She said it would be easy, he told the court. Said his father was old and wouldn't notice anything. Said she'd pay me $500,000 from the insurance once it was done. Victoria's lawyer had tried to paint me as a controlling father who'd interfered in their marriage. It didn't work. The jury saw through it immediately. The verdict came on a Tuesday afternoon. On the charge of first-degree murder. How do you find the defendant? Guilty. On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder? Guilty. On the charge of insurance fraud? Guilty. Victoria collapsed in her seat. Her lawyer demanded a poll of the jury. Every single juror confirmed their verdict. I watched as they led her away in handcuffs. She finally looked at me then, her eyes burning with hatred. "This is your fault," she spat. "If you'd just taken the 45 days. If I'd taken the 45 days, you'd have gotten away with murdering my son." My voice was steady. I'd had 8 months to prepare for this moment. "You gave me that ultimatum because you wanted me gone before anyone started asking questions. Before anyone noticed what you'd done." The bailiffs pulled her toward the door, but I wasn't finished. "You thought I was just an old man. Easily dismissed. Easily forgotten." I stood up straighter, my shoulders back, the way I'd stood on the factory floor for 35 years. "You were wrong. I'm sitting on the patio of my new condo now, looking out at the garden I've spent the spring building. Raised beds for tomatoes and peppers, a small woodworking shed in the corner, a bench where I sit every evening and watch the sun go down." Victoria was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. Jason Reed got 15 years. The life insurance company voided the policy entirely, so neither of them will ever see a penny. The house on Maple Lane sold for $1.2 million. My 40% share, validated by Robert and upheld in probate court, gave me more than enough to buy this condo and set up a scholarship fund in Michael's name for physical therapy students. The rest went to my other children. Michael's brother David and his sister Catherine flew in from Vancouver and Montreal for the trial. They'd been devastated by everything. The murder, the betrayal, the revelation that their brother's wife had been planning his death for years. But we've grown closer since then, bound together by grief and the determination to honor Michael's memory. His patients helped with that, too. One of them, a former athlete who'd relearned to walk thanks to Michael's care, organized a memorial 5K run. More than 500 people participated. I crossed the finish line myself, Frank beside me, tears streaming down my face. Sometimes I still wonder what would have happened if I'd accepted those 45 days. If I'd meekly searched for an apartment, signed whatever documents Victoria put in front of me, let myself be pushed aside like she wanted. She'd counted on my grief, making me compliant. On my age, making me passive. On my trust, making me blind. But my son didn't raise a quitter. And I sure as hell didn't raise one either. I pick up the photo I keep on the patio table, Michael at his white coat ceremony, beaming with pride, his arm around my shoulders. I trace the outline of his face with my finger. I got justice for you, son, I say quietly. I hope you know that. I hope you know I never stopped fighting. The wind rustles through the garden, carrying the scent of tomato leaves and fresh-cut wood, and for just a moment, I swear I can feel Michael's hand on my shoulder. I know, Dad. I always knew you would.